Action. Hello world. Today we are here with an amazing person that has some very important information to give to the public and to the city of Peoria to inform y'all on what's going on inside the city, inside Peoria right now as we speak. I am your host, War Muhammad, and today we are here with the fabulous Carrie Arms. How you doing, Carrie?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for inviting me here today, War.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It is my pleasure. So what's going on today in Peoria County that Miss Arms want the whole world to know?
Well, currently there's a ballot initiative, a eliminate the auditor referendum, and we are trying to get out the word to have people vote no, because the question is actually backwards. Shall Peoria County eliminate the office of county auditor? So you need to vote no to retain your auditor. Why do you want to do that? Well, you want to do that because the auditor looks at invoices and makes sure that they have all the date and the services rendered, and so that you know that $1,000 is being sent for this service and is appropriately being used with taxpayer money. And so the county has tried to get rid of the auditor for many years, maybe since 1991. And there was a Attorney General Roland Burris opinion that said that they couldn't get rid of the auditor's office, they couldn't reassign the duties, and they couldn't use their budget to eliminate the equipment and the staff, and that's exactly what they're doing. So they're trying to tell you, oh, an internal auditor and external auditor are the same. Have an external auditor, it doesn't make any difference, but it makes a big difference. An internal auditor looks at things right now, today, when it's happening. An external auditor looks at things historically. Did you use proper accounting practices? So some of you may or may not be aware, the city of Dixon, Illinois, they had external auditor reports for many years, and it turned out that the comptroller stole $54 million over several years, and then those outside accounting firms that didn't notice anything was wrong then were sued, and they recovered $40 million. So a county auditor is a very vital thing, and we need to stand up and vote no.
So who was our county auditor before this situation occurred?
Well, there's been a series of county auditors. Way back, there was Steve Sonnemaker, and there may have been a couple other ones in there, and then there was Carol Van Winkle. Carol Van Winkle was reelected and became so frustrated because the county kept taking away her statutory duties. Now, these are statutory duties that are outlined in the Illinois compiled statutes to say what the auditor can do, and they have taken away those duties and given them to the finance department, the treasurer's department, the computer, the IT department, the county administration and stuff. And so in 2018, they put a referendum on, and the referendum was defeated. They were trying to make it from an elected to a appointed auditor, and it was defeated. And the county administrator, Scott Sorrell, says, oh, it wasn't a mandate, it was only like 17 or 19 votes. But let's understand, the word mandate means in order to do something. If you win by one vote, that means you have to do it. Right. And so the voters said we want to keep the auditor, and now the auditor has taken them into court on the auditor lawsuit for taking away her statutory duties. And
what's her name?
Jessica Thomas.
Jessica Thomas.
Yeah, so Jessica Thomas
I remember when she was running for county auditor. That wasn't that long ago, correct?
No, well, so she, in 2018, in the March primary, which looks like it was illegal that they put the referendum on there, that was defeated. And then in November of that year, in 2018, she was elected for the last part of Carol Van Winkle's term. And then in 2020, she ran again. So her term goes from 2020 to 2024. So,
okay. And they're trying to get rid of her position, her job.
They're trying to get rid of her position. So the county was looking at two different referendums. And one had the date that it was effective December 1st, 2024, that they would no longer have an auditor. And then there was another one that said, Well, we want to get rid of the internal office of auditor, which there is no such thing as the internal office of auditor. If you look at the statute, it's a county auditor. But they're trying to confuse or persuade the voter to vote yes. Shall Peoria County eliminate the internal office of county auditor because Peoria County has an external auditor, required by state law? There's an approximate cost saving of $150,000. Now the auditor's budget is like, from last year, 2022, is like $112,750, okay? So I don't know how you equate that to $150,000. And when you ask county board members, they can't give you how they have that number. But they're trying to confuse people that we're gonna save this money. We're not gonna save any money if nobody's watching how the money is being spent. So for example, there was an audit report of the coroner's office back in 2020, and the coroner, I have it right here, and the coroner sends in an invoice for $1,000, and you can see it right here, that here's an invoice for $1,000, and it doesn't say what it's for. It says who the vendor is, and so the purpose of the county auditor is to say, okay, you want us to approve this $1,000, tell us what it's for. And so the county coroner says, let's see, the county coroner basically says, well, they perform duties that are outside of their general practice. For example, I called Dr. So-and-so to consult on a case with her in which she does a medical review and provides expert medical opinion, but no autopsy. This is not something she bills for, but deserves compensation for.
What? Oh my goodness.
So,
all I heard was they billing for things that's outside of medical practice. That's all I heard.
Well, it says that she's not billing for an autopsy, but she's given some advice. So he said,
but she charged a fee for that advice.
No, she didn't charge a fee. She just sort of did it on her own. But the county coroner is saying that, that she should be compensated. So I'm just giving her $1,000.
Oh wow! So he's
Okay.
just donating $1,000.
Well, because you could see on the invoice, it just says a vendor's name. It doesn't say so the accounts payable system requires you to have like a date and what you did, right? So then they asked for that, and the coroner got a little bit upset, and then he got the state's attorney and the county administrator involved, and he's saying, the auditor's office doesn't have the authority to dictate how the coroner office spends their dollars. And the auditor's office isn't saying that. They're saying if you want to spend the dollars, just tell us the date, the case, and what you're spending it on, okay?
Plain and simple.
Yeah, right. But anyway, so then he went out and he used the county charge card, and he got gift cards. So now you really don't know what it's being spent on.
Oh wow!
So I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it just seems so.
You laughing to keep from crying.
Yeah, it just seems so bizarre.
Our head exploding.
Okay, so then they still didn't get some invoices. So then the auditor's office asked the vendors to let them know, and then they finally got it straightened out after all of that. But the one vendor said, well, I don't want this, and just return the gift card. So you can see, if I'm buying gift cards, well, if I'm sending in an invoice and there's no, accounting of why I'm doing that, nobody should pay that. That's what the auditor's purpose is. And if we want to keep the auditor's office and we want to keep those services, we have to vote no. We just have to get everybody out.
So what are they voting no for and to?
Okay, you're voting no because the question is, shall Peoria County eliminate the internal office of county auditor? Well, so you say no because you don't want to eliminate them.
Right.
You want to keep.
And the only way to eliminate that if the people vote for the elimination of it. They just can't take it away. That's why it's a process that they're saying.
Well, it gets a little bit complicated. Okay, so the auditor sued the county board and the state's attorney because now if you had an attorney and your attorney is Joe Bob and my attorney is Joe Bob and you and I get in an argument.
Conflict of
Yeah,
interest.
conflict of interest. I can't use Joe Bob and you can't use Joe Bob. But the state's attorney said that she could be the attorney for Jessica, the county auditor, and she could be the attorney for the county board.
What?
Yeah, so they've been fighting this out in court for months and months and months.
With the state's attorney representing both sides?
Yeah, and the county auditor said no, and it's been, then she got a private attorney, and then the state's attorney said, well, we're not going to pay for a private attorney, and then they tried to get state's attorneys from other counties to represent them, but that was conflict, and the auditor, rightfully so, was not comfortable with
Another state's attorney from another county.
yeah, because it's just like birds of a feather flock together, and I'm not trying to like shame or badmouth anybody, but you're in a club.
State's attorney is the state's attorney.
You're in a sorority and everything. What if I was a taxpayer in County X? Why would I want my state's attorney to go representing the county auditor in Peoria County?
Right.
I like, it's just mind-boggling. So the fact that our state's attorney did not think there was a conflict of interest is very concerning. It's disturbing. And then the county filed the wrong referendum, and how that came about is I was in the election office working on a different project, and I said to the executive director, well, hey, I wonder why Peoria County didn't put a date in the auditor referendum. She goes, oh, there's a date. I thought there's no date. She goes, yeah, there's a date, back and forth, back and forth. She goes and brings it out, and I go, well, that's the wrong referendum. She looks at me, the wrong referendum? How do you know that? So I tell her and everything like that. So then it was filed on August 22nd, and then on August 26th, they filed the correct referendum, and they filed it 4 days late, and then they put these words on it: nunc pro tunc. That is a judicial term. You get divorced, you're supposed to pay your wife $950 a month child support. The first month she gets it, it's $850. She calls up her attorney, hey, I thought we agreed to $950. And they said, oh yeah. And they go, oh, we're gonna have to petition the court because there was a mistake in the document, and we'll make it nunc pro tunc now for them, effective to $950, right? It was
So
just
clerical
a
error.
clerical error. This wasn't a clerical error. They filed the wrong referendum. There's an affidavit from the county clerk saying she talked to the people in the administration office who sent her the wrong thing, when it appears that the procedure that they always use is to go get the copy from the minutes. So why is she talking to the assistant in the administrator's office about this referendum that they have to file with the election commission? It's like there's so many things.
And I was at the court date where the judge agreed that they had no authority for the nunc pro tunc.
Right.
But he still ruled in their favor.
Yeah, but he said the language, you heard him, he said the language is suspect of the referendum.
Without a doubt, he said that.
Right, and so really what it should have said it's supposed to be free and fair, free and equal in an election, that you're not persuading the voter to vote one way or the other. So there's a question on this ballot, and it's question of the dissolution of the Tuscarora Fire Protection District. Shall the Tuscarora Fire Protection District dissolve and be consolidated in the Timber Hollis Fire Protection District? Yes or no? Okay, it's just facts. It's not leading you one way or other. It's not giving you any extra information. However, on the other hand, eliminate the office of county auditor. Vote yes or no. Shall Peoria County eliminate the internal office? And again, there is no such thing as the internal office according to the statute. The internal office of county auditor, when Peoria County already has an external auditor as required by state law. That's comparing the function of an internal auditor or an external auditor. This would be a cost savings of approximately $150,000 annually.
So by them mentioning the cost saving is a form of persuasion, you're saying?
And also the internal versus the external. Because if you ask a lot of people, oh, there's an auditor, someone's not really, you go out on the street, and, again, not disrespecting everybody, everybody's just going, well, an auditor kind of looks at something. They don't really realize, they're thinking, oh, they're one and the same, but, and maybe
well,
we're going to
the word internal already confirms me that's somebody on the inside doing the books instead of somebody on the outside that we're just hiring, to come in and do the books, which is sound like more of a private auditor instead of a auditor that was elected by the county, correct?
Correct. And internal is looking at real-time stuff. You present a paper, like in this issue with the coroner, you present a paper, an invoice, and it says, okay, this date, these services, this amount of dollars, and you look and you go through, okay, I got everything, check, check, check. An external auditor is looking at historical data. did you use general accounting principles? Okay, are you using those principles to do your thing? And again, if you look at the city of Dixon, they had external auditors. They had within Clifton Gunderson, which is now Clifton Allen Larson, they paid $34 million of that $54 million that was, stolen by the comptroller of the city of Dixon, and then another an external auditor paid $4 million. So they ended up, I think it was 36 million, sorry, not 34 million, 36 million. So it's about aggregating together, that's about $40 million of $54 million. The city of Dixon was still out $14 million, and they probably didn't get all the $40 million because they had to pay attorney's fees. But
so I heard the state's attorney tried to say Peoria County is a small enough county to where we don't need an internal auditor.
well, so in the statute, there's certain things that are required: a county clerk, a sheriff, a county clerk, and some other things. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but an auditor is, if you want to have an auditor, you can have an auditor, and if you want to if you want to eliminate the auditor's position, then there's a process whereby to go. But it should be
And that's the process of them asking the people to vote.
right. But they even went back. Oh, and I need to mention to you, we have a website that we put all these documents, all these and these up there, so you can really read it. It's called VoteNoPeoriaCounty.com, and just go there and look, and it lays out what happened, and it's
We'll add that link to this video so you can click on it and go straight to it.
okay. So it's there, and it outlines everything what to do. What has gone on for me as a community advocate, advocating for open, transparent government for 28 years, it's very disturbing. The state's attorney is the attorney also for the election commission. They asked the executive director to write something on there that she was really not comfortable, but she was following orders. And then a judge said, okay, you had no authority to do that. Okay. The county administrator has taken away further duties. They'll say, well, there's no reports. Well, they slashed her budget, which means she has no employees. And in the 11th hour, they offered those employees a lateral move, so they didn't get sued for taking away people's jobs, and they've taken away her ability to access the systems and different types of things. So they're just slowly dissolving what she can do, and she's fighting for the people. It has nothing to do with her as an office, it has to do with the position in general. And if this goes in Peoria, you probably could see them trying to do this in other counties, trying to get rid of elected county auditors who are independent and are really there to help the people's money be spent how it needs to be spent.
So before we wrap this up, in your professional opinion of doing what you do for 28 years, why would you say they are trying to get rid of this position in this internal office that doesn't exist?
Well, when you look at the couple of reports that I pulled, and you can find them at the county auditor site, they don't want someone to be telling them that they can't do what they want to do.
With the money.
Okay, so if you put an invoice in and it doesn't have all the paperwork, they're like, well, just pay it anyway. Okay? Appropriations. There was appropriations for, after the George Floyd incident, there was a very large appropriation to the sheriff and the state's attorneys and the election commission, and the auditor made recommendations that money really didn't go to where it was supposed to go and wasn't spent. And the department head said, hey, I can spend the money however I want, but it was a special appropriation for specific things to help with GED education, recidivism, counselors, and that type of things. And the money didn't go where it was supposed to go.
So pretty much a lot of funds can potentially be misappropriated if there is no one internally monitoring the books, the receipts, and the invoices of the county budget.
Right, and being the elected watchdog. The county will say...
Chosen by the people.
Right, chosen by the people. So one of the other challenges is the duties of the auditor are being done by other departments. So we're paying for it anyway. They just have illegally reassigned those duties. It's really important. Get out and vote. Please vote no. Please tell your friends, people who haven't even registered to vote, get them involved in the process.
And what is this question they're voting no again? Tell them.
Vote no on shall the county eliminate the office of county auditor.
So when you see that question on the ballot, shall the office eliminate the internal office of the county auditor, you vote no on that question. If you want someone in there internally monitoring the books and the invoices of your taxpayers' dollars.
Right. Keep the auditor. Vote
So
no.
we want to thank you for
Oh, you're welcome.
on.
Thank you so much.
We will be having her on again. You best believe that, because she has a lot more information to share with Peoria and Peoria County and the world that is vital to the revitalization of our city and making sure that everything is equal and balanced. You know, balancing checks, making sure that funds are being appropriated where they belong. This is why we've been having so much imbalance in the city for so long, because a lot of money go to certain groups and certain, let's say,
The Friends and Family
the
Program.
friends and family program, instead of going to real programs. It's going to make a real difference in the city of Peoria. So thank you all for tuning in. This is The Dark Truth, and we are giving y'all nothing but the dark truth. Reporting live here from Peoria, Illinois. Carrie Arms, she'll be back. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was great.